Welcome to Abandoned Albums, the documentary podcast. Each week, our intrepid group of researchers and music archivists dig through the record crates of the world, finding those albums that may have been lost over time. If a new artist is discovered along the way, that's all the better. Using a patent-pending algorithm and spirited debate, we pick one album to discuss. Once that is settled, we will invite the artists to Thunderlove Studio to chat with your host, Keith R. Higgins. When we're lucky, they say yes. Our mission with Abandoned Albums is simple: to make sure artists' recorded work remains, or in some cases, lands on, the cultural radar. We invite you to sit back and relax. Thank you for joining us.
You said to call you up and I was feeling moody. Hey little Donna, still wanna. You said to ring you up when I was in Toronto. I have lots of friends that I can gang at any time. Could mobilize some laughs with just one call. Like a bunch of lunatics, we'll act till way past on. Sure, we'll be rocking till our strength is gone. Yeah, this beat goes on. And on, and on, and on. Hey, lady, ooh, you crazy.
With This Beat Goes On and Switching to Glide. The Kings wrote a 1-2 song punch that would cause an entire generation, and those that followed, to move their feet. Hailing from Toronto, Canada, the Kings were recording their first album in 1980, when producer Bob Ezrin popped in. You probably recognize that name from albums by Pink Floyd, Alice Cooper, and Peter Gabriel, among dozens of others. Liking what he heard, Ezrin decided to produce the Kings' debut album, The Kings Are Here, which had This Beat Goes On and Switching to Glide as songs 1 and 2. Knocking on the doors of top-tier bands, the Kings would tour with everyone from Bob Seger to the Beach Boys to Jeff Beck. Over the years, the Kings continued to tour and release music, proving that the beat does indeed go on. The Kings' bass player and lead singer Dave Diamond stopped by Thunderlove Studio recently to discuss the beat, and their latest album, The Longest Story Ever Told. Here's my conversation with Dave Diamond of the Kings.
Dave's rolling.
So I guess I'm supposed to be David Diamond, but I'm Dave.
Okay.
And you're Keith. So hi, Keith. But it's all good. You're looking good.
Thanks. Thank you.
Where are you, in Connecticut?
I am. New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, right. I think I saw that on your... but you're... see, I did my homework, too. I know you're from Ohio.
I am. I am indeed from Ohio. It wasn't for me.
See, there's only one T in Toronto. Here's our shirt. All the different ways to pronounce it in Toronto. So we have King shirts like this too. They got that. We have that's our little Kings logos at the bottom. It's great. Eh? There's only one T, and if you're from this area, there's only one T in Toronto.
That's great. That is great.
With our experience, we're going to have ideas for change combinations that probably haven't occurred to you. If you have a $50 bill, we can give you 50 singles. We can give you 49 singles and 10 dimes. We can give you 25 twos. Come talk to us. If you come to us with a $100 bill, we're not going to give you 2,000 nickels, unless that meets your particular change needs. We will give you the change equal to the amount of money that you want change for.
I'm sorry, Zero can't be here today. Did Ann send you a text or something about that?
She did. She did, yeah.
I don't know. I think he was out on the weekend at a festival in Hamilton, Ontario, which is not too far from here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he bit into something and broke his tooth or something, but he's sorry he couldn't be here. But he's gone to the dentist to get his mouth fixed.
Oh, that's the worst.
Unless he got punched, I don't think so. He's not the kind of guy to get into a fight.
You know, I was going to ask you about that because it seems, I watched the documentary over the weekend, and it seems the more Canadians I interview, the more I hear about fights.
Really? Yeah.
I don't associate pugilism with Canadians.
No, me neither. I don't hear that too often. But we have our posse that looks after us. That's what I'm only kidding.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, okay. So are we going now, or what are we doing?
We're going. We're just doing it. There's no real formal.
Hey, hello, rock and roll.
Nice to meet you, Dave. Nice to meet you.
And you too.
If you see me look over here, it's only because I have questions that I've written out.
Okay. Well, I have some too. So.
Oh, really? That's terrific. So the 4 original members of the Kings are yourself, Mr. Zero, Sonny Keys, and Max Styles.
Max Styles, yeah.
Can you share with us how the Kings came to be?
Yes, it's part of the longest story ever told, which is our new album out there, by the way.
Yep.
Available on the thekingsarehere.com and all our other feeds. But no, it's it actually Zero and Sonny Keys they started it. They were in Zero. I've known him since public school and high school back here in Oakville, Ontario, on the outskirts of Toronto. Is where we grew up, and I still live in Burlington. He lives in Oakville. I live in Burlington, Ontario, right next door. And so Zero, as he traveled, he did a lot of traveling when he was younger. I was in other bands playing, on the like in your area, in the Ohio area, and upstate New York, and Southern Ontario, just right after high school. So. Zero, he was doing traveling. He was a little younger than me, so I never was in a band with him much at all before we started the King thing. He traveled out to Vancouver and met Sonny Keys, who was a singer-songwriter, a lot in the style of like Elton John type of thing. Sonny's a great piano player, that kind of melody and words. And he had written some songs. They met Zero, and Zero was a great, wordsmith. Sonny needed some words for some of his great melodies that he had. They went into a studio, did some demo work, and they didn't really have much bite to it, I don't think, from what I understand back in those days. So Zero told Sonny, I know a couple of guys back in Oakville. And so it was me, and our original drummer, Max, was in other bands in the Oakville area that Zero had played with him before. But I'd never played with Zero in a band. So Zero called us both up, Max and Sonny, and Max and myself, and invited us to come and do some demos work out in Vancouver, which was great. There's a trip to Vancouver. So both Max and I said, well, let's go for a ride. And we went out and we started working on some of those songs. And I said, I've got a few tunes too here we could maybe bang out and see how it works. And as it turned out, that sort of sparked something. And everything sort of came together. It was all of a sudden we had this neat, great sound, and the 4 of us we were excited. But the demo sessions ran out of time. Max and I came back home here to Ontario, and Zero stayed in Vancouver with Sonny. And somehow I think they decided, well, maybe we should go back let's go to Ontario and get hook up with Dave and Max again, and which is what happened. And that would have been in the mid to late 70s, in that time frame, in that area like that. That's how it actually started, and we were called Whistle King. So we were writing all these prog rock type songs, like 7-minute songs, like, all these totally non-commercial songs, but they were fun to play. Yeah. And, but we weren't really getting very far with that kind of stuff. And we thought and when the Cars and Elvis Costello, all the new wave movement started in the late 70s, we thought, we can do this. So we had like a cover band playing the local bars in this area in Southern Ontario. And so we were learning all the new Cars songs, and we were really hip and cool, playing in the bars with all this new stuff.
Yeah.
And we were sliding our own songs in between, you know, and writing more commercially. And all of a sudden, that's how things sort of started rolling, you know. And we won a songwriting contest
Wow.
with the song that I wrote, and it was like with the local radio station in Toronto, Chum FM, which was a big Canadian station at the time. I don't think it doesn't exist anymore. It was the first homegrown contest, and out of 500 entrants, we won it. And so we knew we were, and it was a commercial song called "Turn My Face to the Wall," which ended up being called "Don't Let Me Know," which is on the very first album, on the original album. And we still play that song today. That's awesome. That's the song that kicked it off for us. People started just calling us the Kings, not Whistle King. And why we called it Whistle King, I don't know.
But you didn't protest when it went to the Kings.
When they called us the Kings. So we did a worldwide search of a rock band called the King. I mean, there's many sports teams. There's the families called the Kings family, or, you know, the Kingsmen. Yeah. There's no rock band called the Kings. And why don't we just be the Kings? And so that's how we are the Kings still, without having any legal problems calling ourselves that.
I'm shocked. You would think that there would have been after what?
Wouldn't you think? There must have been, but we got sort of registered it before, so we could release our records under that name, you know?
That's awesome.
That's how it works. And that's the short version, actually.
Were there any particular influences that influenced your sound, or were you shooting for, all right, how do we get the most people to come to the show?
Both Zero and I were really influenced by the Beatles.
Okay.
You know, and the Beatle era, and the melodies and the lyrics are so great. We knew that writing a song that people could understand and it would mean something to them was important. Not just your usual "love you, baby, baby," you know, "oh honey, I've heard you hurt me," and this, but other things, you know, other things that actually meant something, like having a great time with somebody, or a place, or something like that. So that's how we felt about, we got to write good songs with good meanings that would last and people would remember, you know, and that's we've always sort of shot for something like that. And I think that's maybe why Switching the Glide, this beat switching, it means so much to people.
Oh gosh.
Is it fits so many perfect situations, you know?
Two things on that. One, it sounds as good today to me as it did in 1980 or 81 when I first heard it. And the second thing, almost every time I hear it, it takes me back to that moment when I was holding my first girlfriend's hand. We were sitting in the front yard of a friend's house, and that song came on, and she got the lyrics all wacky. She thought it was Skitchin' to Ride. And,
sure.
But it takes me back there, and it's such a happy memory for me. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And that is exactly what we wanted to have happen with all our songs, but that one in particular is it's quite a game breaker, right? It's game maker, or whatever you want to call it. We had so many, and like you say, that the lyrics are very strange but good, because people had different ideas what switching to was about. Pete switching to rye.
Yeah.
You know? switching the guides. There's lots of switching going on, but
Yeah.
switching the glide, and it's like you say, it paints a picture that I'm just gone having a great time. I'm in glide mode, and that's I'm sure that's the way you feel when you hear that. It takes me back too. I remember the first time I heard it on the radio.
Oh wow.
I was with a girl, and we were at a cottage area north of Toronto here, a beach where you can still drive out on the beach with your cars, back in the day. And it's like a tailgate parties on the beach and stuff. And there was this one car, we were walking along holding hands, and we knew the song was going to be played on the radio soon. And we were walking along, and out of this one car, they had the tailgate open, the hatchback or whatever, with a big PA, with big sound system in there. And there's the song blasting away, and I just about fell over. It was amazing. And every time I can still see that moment in my mind's eye, clear as day right now. Yeah.
That's great. And in the demo version, you can hear the song there, but holy cow, when you partnered with Bob Ezrin, did you level that song up like 1,000 degrees?
Oh yeah. No, and that's another thing. The way we met Bob was, he taught us so much. We thought we went into the studio on our own dime, basically as an independent. We booked the studio called Nimbus 9 in Toronto, which is a famous studio.
Right.
In the wee hours of the night, in the middle of the night, and the cut rate portion of the day. And we were in there, and we had the original album. We had all the songs, and we had, like you say, the original version of Switching the Glide. And Bob happened to come back he's from Toronto originally. And he had been doing The Wall, obviously. It took about 2 years. I think he was away from his hometown and his family. I mean, I'm sure they visited back and forth, but he was away from his hometown for about 2 years. So when he came back to Toronto after The Wall, he went to Nimbus 9 one day to visit Jack Richardson, who he worked with the Guess Who band and a few other. And I think the early Alice Cooper work was done there. And so he came back to visit the old haunt and some of his friends. And like any producer would do, who's in Studio A? Who's in Studio B? And there's this independent band called The Kings are in there working on their own. Oh, yeah, but what are they doing? What's happening? And the manager we had at the time said to Bob, well, you should come check it out. These guys are pretty good. And Bob came and had a listen from, he just knocked on one day. He knocked on the door in the studio. We were in there doing some mixes. And, hey, I'm Bob Ezrin, and we just about died,
Yeah, I'm sure.
Here you got some neat stuff here. And so we played a few of the songs, and then we played the speech, Switching the Glide, and he said, that's pretty hooky. Can I have a copy of that and to have a listen to it? And so we ran him off a fast copy. He took it home, played it for his kids and that. He came back the next day or so. There's something here, he goes. This is pretty good, but there's something wrong with it. He goes, it doesn't go where it should go. Because I wrote the music, and then Zero's the lyricist. And then he said, this one part of the song, it's wrong. There's something wrong here. You should do something. He didn't tell us what to do. He said, just suggest that there's something needs fixing there, And it is, it's part of the verse, and this beat goes on.
Okay.
Switching the glide, the chord progression. So I said, okay. And Bob Ezrin doesn't like it, but he does like it. So what does he mean? And so I went out of the studio and to the lobby with the acoustic guitar and just changing the few the progression around a little bit. Now, yeah, I see what he means. It was just a matter of, instead of playing a C where the G was, I just sort of changed the melody a bit and changed the chords. And it's the same thing, only different. The same, only different. The old, right. But it made that much of a difference. And the lyrics there's some pretty wacky lyrics in there that Bob's going, this doesn't make any sense. But we did have, the Hey Judy Get Trudy. We had all that part, which is, like the name game song. Remember that old song from the old days?
I do. And
Billy,
Bobanafa, Philly.
And he thought that was clever, but some of the other words weren't very good. So Zero changed them, and then and then he goes, okay, we got something here now, and he taught us how to build songs properly, because we didn't know shit when we went in. We thought we did, but we didn't, But he taught us a lot, and the first album turned out a jewel. He went through it with us. A lot of it, he just let us just go, and he would just say, "Wait a minute, something's wrong there," and he just let us fix it. He didn't fix it. He just suggests something needs to change here, and that's how we learned a lot, because he didn't just say, "Do this, do that, do that."
Right.
He said,
right.
Something needs to happen better here, and we learned a lot that way. And that's why the original version, when you listen to it, it sounds pretty wacky.
Call you up if I was feeling moody. Hey, little Donna, oh, you still wanna? You said I should ring you up when I was in Toronto. I have lots of friends that I can king at any time. Come over and have some laughs with just one call.
We didn't know how to end the song. It was on and on. I don't know what else. And then I had the idea that da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum part, right? I wrote that part, and then, well, that tags on really good with this, on and da-da-dum, da-da-dum. And we put in that glide in between the two. And so we started playing that. And we never actually really played the song as a segue live until we were in the studio working on it. It was like it was needed. We needed the segue to be there, and that's how it just fell into place. I think it was a gift.
Yeah, a gift from the gods.
Well, actually, it's funny. Lately, I've been thinking this. I just said it to Zero a few days ago, that we wrote that song the same year both our fathers died the same year.
Oh, wow.
And I've been saying to him lately, I think it was a gift from our dads, because it came from nowhere. All of a sudden we had this great thing. Within a month, we had put these two songs together. And so that's what I think. I think it was a gift from the dads. That's what I really, really do think that.
Interesting. No, in the documentary, you tell a horrible concert performance in Denver, and another one, I think it was in Toronto, where a fights broke out. And then I watched the Heatwave one earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any memorable live performances, like really happy ones that were like, this is blowing our socks off?
Well, yeah, no, there has been, we've been playing a long time. I think there's quite a few, actually. One time we played at we played a lot of gigs in the Chicago, Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio area, a lot. We played the Chicago, the Navy Pier with a bunch of bands. They have the big outdoor shows there. And I just remember that was because that was, I guess, the second summer of the song coming up, and it was just the happiest it was a wonderful, beautiful day. I don't know how many people were there, maybe 10,000 or something. I don't know exactly. But everybody was just happy and clapping and just singing along with it. And I just remember up there playing and singing and looking around thinking, wow, this is heaven here. And I'm having a great time.
That's awesome.
That was great. But the Heat Wave show, too, that was super. There was like 55,000 people there. It was a big outdoor festival.
Yes.
That was the biggest thing we've never played anything bigger than that. And that was just the adrenaline rush for that it was over the moon. Being happy isn't the word for that. That was just like in outer space, that show. Yep. But we have had a few clunker things, that's for sure.
Yeah, that
the one there with the first one we did with Bob's with Jeff Beck in Denver. We weren't advertised as being on the bill. There wasn't supposed to be any opening band, and of course we had all our new wavy clothes on. I had a one-piece zebra striped jumpsuit on, and Zero.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but okay.
Oh yeah. And Zero had his tuxedo and not tails, but he had spats on his shoes. Those are white spats, and he was all duded up. Our keyboard player, Sonny Keys, his thing was the bright yellow overalls and bright yellow, not bleach blonde hair, but yellow hair, as light as yellow as you can get hair.
Right.
And Max, he looked like Moses back there. He had he sort of powdered his beard, and he looked like old man Moses back there. Well, we walk out at the beginning of the show, and the lights go down. Everybody's going, Jeff. And we can walk. The lights come up nice and bright, and there's us in our monkey suits, basically. And instantly, all the people in the huge auditorium started booing us. We hadn't even played a note yet. We haven't even started playing anything. Boo! And we had to play for half an hour. Well, we started playing, and we just got more louder and louder boos and the whole place was fingering us and started throwing stuff at us on stage. But there was coin. You could hear coins bouncing off the equipment up, the light stands, and you hear ding bong, and there'd be cups of water, because I don't think they didn't have any booze there. I don't think, but they had like drinks with ice. Again, ice. They were whipping that at us, and somebody threw a shoe. One shoe was on the stage. So, like Zero always says, you got to really hate somebody to throw one shoe, because you got to go home with only one shoe on.
It's the most perplexing thing to throw.
That's for sure. Anyway, but we made it through. And then the next gig we did with Jeff, we learned our lesson, and we just came out with jeans and cut off T-shirts, and plus people knew we were going to be there, so it was a whole other ball game. But that one was the worst. That was probably the worst time we ever had.
Now, have you ever made it back? You must have been back to Denver since then.
No, we never played Denver again after that. No.
You certainly have a reason not to go back.
Well, it wasn't just because of that. I don't think we've had any bookings there. But,
okay.
But it's okay. Even the people in Denver, the record people, the record reps and stuff said, we've never, ever seen anything like that before. Denver's not that kind of a place. So we go, yeah, sure it is.
Yeah. Now, your next record, Amazon Beach, Bob Ezrin produced again. And there was a real, both the record label, yeah. Well,
Clunker, is that what you're about to say there, Keith?
No, I would never say that, because, never crap on anyone's creativity, but it was really an interesting departure, and
well,
it was noticed.
It was noticed. It was there was supposed to be 10 songs on it. It only ended up having 8.
Whoa!
And of those 8, a lot of them, this is where things changed. When we worked with Bob with the first album, he would let us do things. He let us be creative, like I was saying earlier.
Right.
The second album, Amazon Beach, he was pressed for time, because at that particular summer, he was doing a Canadian act, a Murray McLaughlin album. He was doing a Kiss album, the first one when they had no makeup on, called The Elder.
Oh, wow.
He was doing that album and us all at the same time. And then they were all at 3 different, like Murray McLaughlin's was almost finished. Kiss was about half finished. Ours was just starting. So he had so much on his plate. He was just saying, I want you to do this, do this, do this. And we were going, well, like he was he was rearranging our songs and stuff. And we didn't like some of the arrangements. We thought, no, this isn't right, Bob. He says, I know better. I know I've written hit songs. I know what I'm doing. And we're going, oh, brother, here we go,
Yeah.
And so we sort of got steered in the wrong direction. I would think it would be the easy way to say it. And like when we first started recording the songs, we sent the roughs to LA to Elektra Records, and they were all really happy with things. Things were going along really well.
Okay.
And but then as it progressed, things just didn't progress. It just got kind of shitty, and things got changed that shouldn't have been changed. Parts got taken out. Songs got left off the album that we had already started, doing bed tracks for, that we didn't have enough time to finish. And actually, The Elder, the Kiss album, Zero and I are on it a little bit singing background harmonies. So
Cool.
Because there was a couple of things he was trying to finish up on the Kiss album that he had to have a few extra little tracks here and there. So at one point, Zero and I are standing around a microphone with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley singing oohs and ahs and stuff like that.
Wow.
Which was it was a pretty bizarre thing. And the Murray McLaughlin album, Zero's playing some guitar parts on it. So it just, Amazon Beach just got stepped on too much, I think. I mean, there were some great songs on there that shouldn't have been changed as the way they got changed. That's all I can say. So to me, it turned out a clunker, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think that we got sort of shuffled off the deck type of thing, And after that, yeah, we just sort of floundered around a little bit, and ended up just doing some recording in Canada, releasing some albums in Canada. But that was our big, with Elektra Records. Yeah, that's sort of what happened. It was just one of those. The office changed, the people changed, the times changed.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a story I've heard time and time again on interviewing people.
And a lot of other things happened along the way too. In the like there used to be the payola thing going on with the radio stations and all that.
Mm-hmm.
When and a lot of bands got stopped being played on the air because of that. There's actually a book called The Hitmen. I think if you read that.
I read that years ago. But
yeah. And it's about this whole situation that the governments or the people were starting to, there's all this payola going on, this all under the table stuff, which was true. To get things happening, you sort of had to, pad things a little bit.
Yeah.
And we were right in that. I think Flock of Seagulls, A Haircut 100. There was a few bands like us, like the Kings, that were really traveling somewhere a lot bigger. We were gonna be a lot bigger than it turned out, because all of a sudden everything got squished, everything got stopped at that particular time. And that was just when this Amazon Beach and all this was happening, and just bad timing. We had a little bit of bad timing here and there. I think that's what happened there.
Let me ask you a question about Canadian radio. Did I read this incorrectly, that they have to play a certain percentage of Canadian artists?
I think it's 1/3, like a third of their time has to be Canadian, which is a great thing for our country, for our performers, our songwriters, singer-songwriters. Otherwise, because we're not that, we don't have as many. I mean, we have a lot of great musicians and a lot of great talent, but we don't have as many as the States or other countries. So the airwaves could be full of other music other than Canadian music. So the CRTC here in Canada, they mandated that a third of airtime's got to be Canadian music, which is a great thing.
I think so.
I think it's one, and it's also been a great thing for us all to. We know we have our slot on the air to be that we can strive for, that we know we can fill up that much time easily with all this new talent that's in Canada here. So I think it's a great thing. That is true. That's true.
It's fantastic. It means that musicians could make a living. I mean, at least an artist can live off of their creativity, and that's
and there's an audience for it there on the air. So that's a great thing.
A lot of people don't realize that change is a two-way street. You can come to us with 16 quarters, 8 dimes, and 4 nickels. We can give you a $5 bill. Or we can give you 5 singles. Or 2 singles, 8 quarters, and 10 dimes. You'd be amazed at the variety of options you have. I've had people come in with wrinkled $10 bills who want new, crisp bills to put in birthday cards. And we can handle special requests like that, usually the same day. All the time our customers ask us, how do you make money doing this? The answer is simple. Volume.
The longest story ever told.
Yeah.
Now, before we jump into it, I have to tell you how much I love the album cover.
Oh, great. Oh, I've done my homework. You have a dog and a cat?
I did. My dog, unfortunately, got cancer, and I had to put him down in May. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, now I got a big fat cat that's still here. Yeah.
Well, our dog had cancer too. We had to put. She died here, right there on. Oh, where's my hand? Right there on the kitchen floor, right there. Abby. In fact, Abby's paw print is on the label on the CD and on the album. On the album,
awesome.
There's a dog footprint. And that's Abby.
I've got Rufus right here.
Oh, there you go, Rufus. Isn't that nice? Eh? The dog on the cover. Oh yeah, we're not doing video, so. The dog, this is part of the longest story. I've been saying the longest story. This is part of the longest story ever. I've been saying it for a bunch of years, and I finally wrote a song about the longest story. Why not? There's all kinds of other stories, but this is the longest story in my mind. Everybody has a long story, right?
Yes, for sure.
The dog on the cover is a dog named Sadie, and Zero took that photo of Sadie with her head in the cat door. Because Sadie knew that the cat was getting fed around that time, and the cat's bowl was right around inside the door. I mean, Sadie had her own door to go in the garage, but she used to lay there and put her head through. So Zero took the picture. And then 8 years later, just before we put this album out last year, we thought, like our album director, Peter Greco, he said, well, do you have the picture of the dog's head from the other side? We went, no, we never did take the picture. So we got a hold of the people that own Sadie at the farm. And Sadie's still alive? Yeah, Sadie's still alive. So we went down and coaxed Sadie to put her head through the door again and took that picture. So the picture of her head, of her actual face inside is 8 years after the picture on the front.
Wow.
And we just thought it's part of the longest. It's another thing you see on the road when you're out playing, some kind of wacky. And then it all worked out that Sadie was still alive to get the back picture of her. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's amazing. Artwork, when it hits, it's really cool. And that hit for me.
Well, you really know when it. I mean, you look at it, you go, "Wow, what's this dog doing?" Then you realize this. She's not in any peril or any trouble. Sadie was doing that because there was food just inside around the corner of the.
Which makes total sense for a dog.
Sure, it does.
When did that album begin to take shape for you guys?
It started probably just before the whole COVID thing. I know COVID now is starting to sound old. But you know what I mean? That was like 4 years ago. But yeah, no, we started working on it just the year before. We had the one song that opens up side 2 is Circle of Friends, Man That I Am.
Okay.
Is mixed by Bob Ezrin. hooked up with Bob again after many years. Because we've sort of been in touch with them here and there, not a lot. I mean, everybody worked out their differences. That was the old days. Was the old days. This is the new days. Everybody's back. The heads are straight again.
Yeah.
And so we went to Nashville and mixed it down there we recorded it here in the Toronto area. We sent him a copy, sent Bob a copy, said, well, we got to make it sound like a record. We know you can do that. That you can really, he's a great sound mixer. He can really, he sprinkles his fairy dust on things and it just sounds wonderful. He has this old outboard gear that he uses. So we went down there. That would be, I guess, in 2019.
Okay.
And then we started having other songs. We wrote a few new songs, brand new songs over the COVID time. And we had a few other songs we had been working on that we just put on the shelf. We hadn't finished, that kind of a thing where you get so far and then you go, the next part sort of sucks, which we learned from Bob's, from the years ago. It doesn't, some songs just fall into place every time. Other ones, part of it will be great and the next part sucks. So you got to come back to it later on with a clear head. We did that with a bunch of the other songs, so it all fell into place through the COVID time. We were recording in a small studio with masks on and without masks on, which we all felt confident in each other. And we came up with the 10 songs that is on the album. And we're really happy with it. I think it's one of the best album we've ever done.
I gotta say, these are some of my favorites. Nowhere to Go But Gone is a great track. It's a great rock and roll song.
Gonna head out on the highway. The highway is my friend. Gonna head out west where the highway ends. Then I'll stop Vancouver, turn south towards LA, 1,200 miles of surfers waiting for a wave. There is no trip like a road trip. Nowhere to go, nowhere to go, nowhere to go but gone. Nowhere to go, nowhere to go, nowhere to go but gone. And I'll meet a lot of people and drink a lot of booze.
I can picture kids playing that as on the last day of school, driving out of the parking lot, and I can picture their parents driving to the bar from work.
Oh, yeah, nowhere to go but gone. Man.
That's the imagery I get from that song.
Oh, good. Well, there's a video of that. We have a video of that on our site. It's great. And that song is actually we've just putting that out as the new single. If you can have singles these days, that's the one we're promoting. Last summer, the end of last summer. Well, the album came out during the summer last year. The end of the year, Always Off the Deep End is the first single we put out, and it's really like a pop. It's more like a pop song, like the olden days. And now we got this Nowhere to Go But Gone, which is a great road trip song for anybody, like you say, you're getting away from things. Let's get out of here, Yep. And, well, thanks. And then we also have that Americana type of song on there, A Rose for Your Stone, which is it's pretty interesting. It's the internet is so great in some ways. In some ways, it's horrible. But in some ways, for musicians, we wrote that song here in this room right here, Zero and I, and I had the idea. I was watching The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and I thought, there hasn't been a good country story song in a while. I mean, there's the Old Town Road or whatever, that kind of stuff. But the Marty Robbins, El Paso, that kind of stuff. That's what I had the idea, and then so Zero, we started writing it out, and it's great. It's all good. But we needed some mariachi horn parts and stuff in it. So Sonny, our keyboard player, he tried playing it on synthesizer. The horn. He arranged the horn parts. It just sounded too synthesizey. It didn't have that the slightly off pitch sound you want. Well, there's a website you can go, or an app called Fiverr.
Yes.
You can hire anybody in the world to do various things, whatever you need. Well, we hired the trumpet player in Spain. We sent him the tracks. He played the horn parts in Spain, sent them back, and we said, well, we like this part. And this is all with translation. We never met the man or even talked to him. It's all just beep, 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 beep on the computer. We like this part, can you do this? And he did it, sent it back. And so the horns are recorded in Spain.
Wow.
The real accordion is recorded. We hired a guy in Toronto, Ontario to play its real accordion on it. And we never met him. We just all beep, 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 beep. And they got credits on the album. And but that's what the internet is good for. That kind of stuff is what it's all about.
I agree.
I came riding in from over the rise, the town down below, baking in the sun. You're there laid to rest, and I'm here to pay my last respects and not forget. For your stone, a rose for your stone is all that I have to give to you.
I want to ask you about When Dreams Come True.
Oh, yeah.
I really like that song, and that opening line. There's something that you do that really grabbed me. The opening, first or second line, I never thought I'd fall in love, and you pause again.
Again, yeah.
And there's something that for me was so powerful because, I'm an older guy. I'm a middle-aged guy. I don't mind telling you listeners, I'm a middle-aged guy, but I've been in love before, but it's just the way that pause. I'm like, oh, I was thinking to myself, oh, it's going to be one of those songs, but then you're like, again, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
It just grabbed me.
Yeah. It is. That song is, it's a beautiful song. And, but it is like that. I'm an old guy too. And, not too, I mean, an older guy. We've had our dealings with chicks and with women and wives or whatever. I think a lot of men would want this is the way it is, part of the story. But again, again is a big word because you've done it before, but you never thought you'd have it. What you had that time, you thought that'll never happen again. But again, it did happen again. And that's what the song is. That's the beauty of the song is that people still can find, is it the love of your life? Well, maybe it is. Maybe this you do find people say like the soulmate or whatever that is, that kind of thing. But it's a powerful word. And actually, it's funny. It is going to be, from what I hear from all the chicks that are all our friends that listen to it and stuff, they say it's the new first dance wedding song.
Look at that.
The first dance of the night, and they come out and have a dance in front of everybody. We've been getting a lot of people to say, we're doing that. That's what we're having as our first dance song. And then again, getting back to what I said earlier about songs that have meanings to people. It's a real meaningful thing. That song is for fresh new love,
Yeah, it's well done. It's very powerful. There's a real elegance to it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think so too. It's a beautiful song.
The other song I want to mention to you is "She Don't Fool Around." I hear in that like a little Steven Underground garage, Wicked Cool Records vibe. You know, it's got a real. I think it's fantastic.
No, it really comes down the track like a locomotive. That song. In fact, the shows, our live shows, we open up the show with that song.
Perfect.
We open up, right? We come out just swinging right off the bat. You know, let everybody know the Kings are still alive, big time. You know. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and that "She Don't Fool Around." That's a great song, but yeah, it's fun. It's a fun song to play and to watch people dance to it. They're just all woohoo. It's one of those. Yeah.
It's one of those songs.
One of those. Yeah. That was great. Well, so you listened to the whole new album, The Longest Story Ever Told, and it's on our own little record company. Like we have a few side things going on, but Dizzy Records. That's Diamond Zero Music, and Dizzy goes around and around. That's the other thing. Another name. Wouldn't you think somebody would come up with a Dizzy for a record company name in the whole world? We did.
Yeah,
Dizzy Records.
It's the same. It's the same thing you're saying as the Kings. You did a search so you could get it.
It's so right in your face.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, isn't that? It's a weird thing, eh? Yeah,
how do you find the independent? How do you find the independent vibe, independent label? There's more freedom for you guys artistically.
It is. We don't have the big money backing. Of course, a lot of record companies. It's a different world now than it was when our first album. When we were with Elektra, it was all record companies ran everything. Like the bands got a small piece of. You know, unless you were a big major artist, you got, you know, a good chunk of the money coming in. But when you're a little band like us, or, you know, a starting up band, you only got a few points out of every album. Now it's a different thing. You can like we have our little store on the internet, and we have freedom to do what we want to do. We can. I mean, we're not the most prolific writing outfit, Zero and I, but. We don't really have to. You know, we have a great time. We rehearse here. I have a rehearsal studio at my house here. We rehearse every Sunday, Todd and I and Zero. Sonny lives in Victoria, British Columbia now. He used to live in the area here, but he lives out there now. That's where he's from originally. But every Sunday, Todd and Zero and I are here. We're blasting away down in the basement here in the rehearsal with we got a full PA, and we do the full show. We don't just sit on chairs and just strum. No, we get up, we sweat, and just have a great time on our own. And we go, wow, that was a great show.
Yeah.
You know?
If I remember correctly from the documentary film, that's something you've always done when you rehearse.
Always done. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. On our stage, nobody sits down. We don't have any sitter-downers. You know, Sonny stands up, plays the keyboard. The only of course, the drummers, but up front, nobody's sitting on any chairs, and I think that's a good thing to have. But we're still playing shows. We're still doing live. Actually, we're just in a couple of weeks. We're playing a big outdoor festival here in just outside of Toronto in Kitchener, Ontario, and we're playing in Cancun in Mexico in November.
Any chance you're coming down to the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut?
We would like to. Not that I know of right offhand. The last time we were in New York City, we played at the.
When was that though?
Oh, that was like just before COVID started. We went into the old beer store, the old beer hall there, the oldest beer hall in New York City.
McSorley's.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So the bar was just not too far around because we finished our show. We walked over to McSorley's. That's right.
Yep. For those who don't know, McSorley's wear garbage bags. And when you order a beer, you don't order one beer.
No.
You order two. So, and there's only two kinds of beer, light or dark.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. And it's been there since like the mid 1800s or even earlier or something.
Yeah.
Same location.
It's great. It's a great bar.
Yeah.
Dave, we're at time.
Okay.
Did you have any questions for me? I'm surprised you.
Oh no, I was just going to ask you about your dog and your cat. Is your cat's name Lulu or something?
It is, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've always liked that name for a cat.
Yeah, Lulu is a great name. We had right now I don't have any critters living here with me. I usually have a dog or a cat or 2 dogs or 2 cats.
Okay.
At this particular time, I don't have any. Our last cat, Sugar, just died a year or so ago too. So I just wanted to say, I love critters.
Thank
critters
you.
in the house. I miss them. I'm looking around sometimes, and Abby used to sit here on the chair when I was strumming and singing guitar, and she'd be looking at me all googly-eyed. And now
it's a hard thing. I still come home expecting to see him, and he's not here.
Yeah, it's an awful thing. So they get you. They really get you.
They do.
Anyway, maybe we'll love again. Maybe you'll get a dog and you'll love again.
I will, absolutely. Rest assured.
I will too. And I'll think of that song. I'll think of you too, getting your new doggy.
For some reason, it was at this point that I stopped recording. Dave stuck around for a few more minutes before we said goodbye officially. So if the ending of this episode seems weird, that's on me. Keeping it weird.
Thanks to Dave for taking the time to discuss the King's career. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to everything this podcast mentions. Here's hoping for a speedy recovery for Mr. Zero. Special thanks to Anne for making the interview happen.
This episode of Abandoned Albums was written and produced by Keith R. Higgins. The show was recorded at Thunderlove Studio, where it was engineered by
Daphne Morris,
with help from
Penetration.
Abandoned Albums was edited by
Vic Titball,
with help from
Clem Fandango.
At the beginning of this podcast, you were treated to a diverse selection of music, including the soulful sounds of Forever by Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul, the indie vibes of Velvet Roof by Buffalo Tom, and the raw energy of Nevermind by The Replacements. Our theme song is Kiss the Earth by The Renegades. You can stream all of these artists wherever you stream your favorite music.
The songs you heard during this podcast were This Beat Goes On Switching to Glide and Don't Let Me Know. Both from The Kings' Bob Ezrin produced debut album The Kings Are Here. You also heard the demo version of This Beat Goes On Switching to Glide. Lastly, you heard Circle of Friends, Man That I Am, Nowhere to Go, and A Rose for Your Stone, which are all from The Kings' latest album, The Longest Story Ever Told. You can stream The Kings wherever you stream your favorite music. We've included links in the show notes section to all of the things mentioned during this podcast.
Original music by Mike Pellegrino.
If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps other people find the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Grazie.
Bailey Leaf,
Rob Janicki, Mike Pellegrino, Thurina Bella,
Eric Beatner, S.W. Loudon, Ronnie Barnett,
Michael Janicki, Peyton Janicki.
This show's executive producer is Lulu McGillicuddy and is in the loving memory of
Rufus Thunderwolf.
Abandoned Albums receives funding from Damon Pharmaceuticals, the makers of Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is the only chewable tablet made to combat stomach unease associated with mediocrity. Taken daily, Ben Affleck can help combat explosive gastrointestinal shame. You can find a multitude of flavors in the incontinence section of your local pharmacy. Ben Affleck, save yourself the embarrassment.
The side effects include dry mouth, headache, anal leakage, muscle soreness, bad decisions, gender confusion, constipation, evil spirit possession, and banality. Use only as directed.
And now, until we meet again next time, I remain as always obediently yours.
Abandoned Albums is a production of Paw Print Media.